Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Knits and Stories. Today I'm talking about one of my favorite things, and that is anticipated releases. So let's dive into what November brings us. Welcome back, friends. If you're new here, my name is Melissa. I'm the dagger behind Rising Tide Fiber Company, and I am an avid reader. And one of the things I love to do is talk about books that are coming out that I'm anticipating. And so November feels like the perfect reading month. The weather's cooling off outside. We start finding those cozy little corners that we love to curl up with a book in at home. And quite honestly, new releases continue to roll out as we head towards the end of the year. And so I've rounded up 8 books today that I can't wait to read this month. They're going to be cozy fantasies, mythology retellings, some romance, and even a memoir. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your knitting, and let's talk about the books that are calling my name this November. So I'm gonna start with something light and fun, and that is Honeymoon Phase by Amy Daws. This book is set to release on November 11th. And this is book 3 in the Mountain Men Matchmaker series. And honestly, it really works as a companion novel. You could totally get away reading it as a standalone if you haven't read the first 2. And in this one, we're dealing with a woman who's agreeing to marry her best friend in a marriage of convenience. And she's, of course, expecting it to say strictly business. And of course, real feelings are going to sneak in. So we've got fake marriage. Amy Daws always really kind of delivers with really funny banter. This series has a lot of small town charm. And quite honestly, the characters in these are the type of characters you just want to hang out with in real life. So this is feeling like a really cozy rom-com to curl up when you just want something that's gonna make you smile. The next book on my list is Fallen Stars by Imani. It is the second book in the Heavenly Bodies series. So this is the first one, Heavenly Bodies. This is book 2. I think it is only a duology. It is set to release November 25th. And the second book sounds really stunning. So this series follows, it's a fantasy novel. It follows Alara, and she is supposed to literally be the mortal embodiment of the moon. And she's in the second book grieving a lost love, and they're trapped between life and death. So there's supposed to be a lot of divine intrigue, betrayal, a whole lot of strategy, and celestial romance vibes, sort of celestial studies. So if you're into things like astrology, this is probably a really great duology for you. I think if you loved books like The Night Circus or The Divine Rivals duology, this is going to be one of those really lush, emotional reads that, quite frankly, is probably going to sweep you away. So I would give the Heavenly Bodies duology a chance. And again, Fallen Stars, the second book in the series, comes out on November 20th. The next book I have in store for us is Brigands and Breadknives. Of course, I had to include Travis Baldree's follow-up to Legends and Latte. So this is a cozy fantasy. Legends and Latte is probably one of my favorite cozy fantasies ever. And the way that Baldree writes, the fantasy world that he creates feels very homey. Like there's always food and friendship and a little bit of adventure and a whole lot of heart in the characters. So in this installment, we're following Fern. She's a new character for us, and she's trying to make her way in a bustling city full of all kinds of magic and mayhem. And so I just have this feeling that it's going to give a lot of that same comforting, feel good fantasy energy that we all really love this time of year. And for those of you that love audio, the author, Travis Baldree, does narrate his own novels. So it is always a joy to hear his characters come to life. So Brigade and Breadknives comes out on November 11th. Now let's shift into something a little bit moodier, and that is A Dark Forgetting by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is the same author who gave us The Heartless Hunter, that duology. So I am super excited for this new novel. This one is set to come out on November 4th. And in this one, we're following a girl named Emmeline, and she enters a mysterious forest, and she's looking for her missing grandfather. But she also has to face the boy that she once loved, who's now turned into something rather dark and dangerous. So if you've not read The Heartless Hunter and its sequel, then you should know that this author is really good at creating lyrical, eerie worlds. And I'm almost imagining this because of the whole forest scenario. This one's probably going to feel a bit like a gothic fairy tale. I'm imagining just a really beautiful, mysterious, haunting type novel. Moving on, book 5 is Next Time Will Be Our Turn by Jessie Q's Sutanto. I am a huge fan of this author. She writes really funny, like little mysteries, and she has written a thriller that I really liked. So this one, Next Time Will Be Our Turn, is a novel that sounds like it's going to be really moving. So it's not going to be in that funny, cozy mystery type style, but it's also not going to be a thriller. This feels much like sort of her middle ground where she kind of writes romance novels, but this is going to be a story, I suspect, between generations. The main character for us in this is going to be a grandmother who's reflecting on her life, the loves throughout her lifetime, and how some of these moments have kind of rippled through her family. And what I love about this author is she does a really great job of balancing humor with those heartfelt moments, and she does it so beautifully. I think this is going to be a really tender and emotional story that's going to hit us right in all our feels, right? It sounds like the kind of story that's going to make us, if you have a grandparent that is still alive, it's going to make you want to call your grandparents afterwards. Next Time Will Be Our Turn comes out also on November 11th. Moving into a bit of mythological retelling, book 6 is Medusa by Ayana Gray. This is a reimagining of the myth we all know. However, it's going to be told in Medusa's point of view. I love these modern day mythological retellings that are retelling the stories from the woman's point of view. And this one is no different. So in this version, instead of being the villain of the story, Medusa is going to be portrayed as a young woman who's been wronged and punished unfairly. And so this is going to be the story of her reclaiming her power. Again, I love these mythological retellings that are really flipping the narrative, and I have a feeling this one is going to be emotional, fierce, and really empowering. I also think if you loved Stone Blind or Circe, I even think if you loved the Song of Achilles, I think we're going to love this one too. Medusa comes out on November 18th. Keeping with the mythology theme, book 7 is Aphrodite, a novel by Phoenicia Rogerson. This one is set to come out on November 11th. We all know that Aphrodite is the goddess of love. So this book is taking on the goddess of love herself, but not from the point of view of a romantic figure. This story is going to explore Aphrodite as powerful, witty, and a complex woman, and a goddess who's going to refuse to be defined by anyone else but herself. This sounds like it's going to be a smart, funny, probably deeply feminist take on one of mythology's most famous women, and I am so ready for it. The last book, book 8, is a memoir. It's called The Book of Lives, a memoir of sorts, and this is by Margaret Atwood. This is set to come out on November. Like many people, I have loved Atwood's work for years, and this is going to be her reflecting, obviously, on her own life, the stories that have shaped her, her creative process, and how she sees the world now. And we know that her writing has always been very sharp, very insightful. Some of it, and maybe not her most famous works, have been full of humor and maybe a little bit of self-awareness. I'm thinking this book is going to be a real treat for a lot of us who have admired her work and want to really understand the woman behind some of the most famous pieces of work right now. Those are the 8 stories or books that I am most excited about for November. Let me know down in the comments, which of these are you going to add to your TBR? Or what releases are you looking forward to? I'm always looking to add things to my list. My TBR pile might disagree with me, but I am always looking to add more books. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss my next episode of Knits and Stories. And until then, happy reading and happy knitting.